DoorDash has been one of those companies with a lot of red flags over the years. When it first came on the scene, it was fairly popular, but like any major company, it had their flaws. Now, this video on TikTok that got posted on a Reddit page, and it's of a lady who she ordered something on DoorDash. She didn't say exactly what she ordered, but it was like, I'm guessing a dinner type of meal. She ordered it, and then the food got delivered, but she said it wasn't delivered. Then she went on the DoorDash app and said, oh, I never got my food. So DoorDash was forced to refund them the money. The lady took things a step further, decided to go on TikTok and post this video.
Don't y'all just love when DoorDash give you a credit? All I did was told them that I didn't get my items. Bitch, why I got $50 back? Bitch, I'm about to order me something. I'm about to go to fucking free food. I love that. I love to eat. Yeah, do that. When y'all order a big ass order on DoorDash, baby, get your fucking money back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I'm about to order something right now. Just wait.
They took that TikTok video, they put it on a Reddit page. People have been trying to report the lady. There's been all types of stuff happening. Now, if you didn't know, DoorDash and like just services in that realm, I think Uber Eats, like different stuff like that, they lose around $103 billion to these types of incidents because there's not really a way of confirming it unless the dasher takes a picture saying, hey, I delivered the food. And even if they deliver the food, they don't, most times they're not looking like in the food to make sure everything is straight. So if you receive the food, you could say, hey, there's water in my food. There's a bug in my food. I see a cockroach in my food, whatever. You could say a lot of stuff. There's not really a way you can verify like, hey, the food was cooked correctly. You get what I'm saying? So you can't really verify anything. It's kind of like a loss that companies like that expect to take every year. Now, from that aspect, of course, that's wild. But DoorDash isn't innocent. They've been called out. And there's been a big DoorDash scam going on for some time where people feel like DoorDash is taking what it's supposed to take. That's where this came from.
There's a lot of companies that love to scam, but DoorDash has got to be number one. When I used to drive for DoorDash, I noticed something about their payment was a little off. So before you drive, they tell you how much they're going to pay you, and afterwards they pay you roughly that amount. I get an order one day saying you will get $10 for completing this order. I complete the order and the people tip me $100. Shout out to them. I noticed I got paid $102. I'm like, that's a little weird. Then I started to read what orders were actually saying. They're saying you will get this amount. They're not saying where it's coming from. So I started looking closely at all my orders. I noticed the more I'd get tipped, the less I'd get paid from DoorDash. So essentially, your tips are just paying DoorDash. After they got sued, I think they got better about this and just tell the driver up front, we're only giving you $1. If they don't tip you, what can we do? And now you see why DoorDash said if you don't tip your driver, you're gonna have longer wait time. Because no one's gonna take your order if they only get paid like $2. And sadly, if you think about it, this is America's tip culture as a whole. A company is just holding you emotionally hostage to give them more money. But if you think about it, where does that leave the worker? And I know some people are going to say, well, someone has to do it, but we got to find a better way than just paying the company.
A big reason why DoorDash probably did that on the low was because, like I said, they're losing $103 billion, to this stuff. I've always had a problem with tip culture, and I tip all the time. And my very first job in high school, before I even went to college, my first job, I worked at Marco's Pizza. That was my first job. I was bored in the summer, stuck in the house, and my mom was like, yo, you need to go do something. You can't just be in the crib. And I was about to go off to college. I worked at Marco's Pizza for like 1 or 2 months, and I was a delivery driver, ironically. The one check I got from Marco's Pizza was like $161 for a bunch of work, because I'm driving here, in my own car. All I had to do was put the Marcos thing on top of my car. I'm driving here, going, delivering. And, sometimes there was one guy, so one time I got lucky. I got $50. Another time I didn't get shit. I remember one time I delivered to a group of kids and they was laughing. So they gave me like 50 cents or some shit like that. Like something like that in high school. What am I going to do? Spaz out? You know what I'm saying? So, and I started to think about it. I mean, of course I probably had every right to be mad in that situation, but I also think at the same time, it's kind of like the tipping culture, American culture. Is like, okay, I have to like really think about this when you really process everything. So let's say you go to a really nice restaurant. You pay you're gonna pay like you take your girl out, whatever. You pay like $112 for the food, right? They give you the food. It has the different lists: 10% tip, 50% tip, or 20% tip. I'm already paying over $100 for the food, and then I gotta pay another, instead of the company who you're working for, who should be giving you the money. I have to pay that, and then just so you're a good person, you need to give an extra $20 or $30. You know what I'm saying? That sounds a little, it's not right. And I just saw something online, and it was about a girl who she put this online. Jeff Bezos and his wife, they went to go eat at her restaurant, and she got mad because the person said that Jeff Bezos doesn't get the bill, his security gets it. I'm gonna play the full clip. Yeah, right here. And if you notice on this vid, she turned the comments off because she knew people were gonna be on her ass about this. But listen to what she said. I'm gonna play a little bit what she said.
Last year, Jeff Bezos came into my restaurant and I had the opportunity to serve him, and he did not pay the bill. In fact, I was told that Jeff doesn't get the bill and that the bill will be delivered to his 2 security guards that sat at the bar and watched him eat. To which, of nobody's surprise, they left a 20% tip, which I'm always grateful for. Any tip is better than no tip. But it made me sick that man could hand every single person in that restaurant $60 million, and the next 27 generations of his family would still be able to not lift a pretty little finger and be able to survive. He was actually very nice and addressed me by my first name and was very respectful, remembered my...
So basically, if you hear the story, I don't even have to play the rest of the video. You can kind of see what she's getting at based on what she said in the beginning. So because he's a billionaire, Jeff Bezos, she probably expected like a $10,000 tip because it's Bezos, right? And she said he left a 20% tip. Now I'm sure he does it this way, I'm guessing, and I'm sure he's not the only person that does this. I'm sure he says, "Oh, my security would take care of it," so she can't. Because if she would have gave Jeff Bezos the bill and she would have saw him put 20%, this store would have been like, "Oh, I served Jeff Bezos, gave him the bill. He only gave me a 20% tip. Billionaire, you could have gave more." But since he's directing it to the security, it's smart. I'm not gonna lie, it's smart. More so, it's like the tipping culture, bro. Like, it's kind of crazy how the tipping culture is. DoorDash, I don't really know how you could fix like a business model like that. I feel like that model, you're always gonna have issues. You can't really clarify anything. And it's a wild scam people have been running for some time. As you see in this video, people are fed up with it, right?
Immediately posting. You have to be aware of this. If you're a dasher, you have to be aware of this. This is horrifying. I had an experience where I received a fake phone call from Dash support claiming that the payment for the order was fraudulent. It was a stolen credit card, and that I needed to complete a process with them in order to continue dashing and to prevent fraudulent charge to that card. They had my full name. They had the order's first name and last initial. They had the location of the order. They had the last 4 digits of my debit card. They had the last 4 or whatever digits of my debit account. They had my lifetime deliveries. They had a process actually coincided with the Dasher app, and there were multiple times where I was sent confirmation codes. And so I'm thinking it's legit because finally they say, "They're going to give you a payout of $10.50 for your wasted time and gas. In order to do that, we need to connect to Cash App, ensure that your debit card is connected. Next, what you need to do is state the balance of that account and transfer the entirety of it. Don't worry, you'll get the money back plus your payout."
That's the thing right there. Soon as you hear you'll get your money back, gone, scammed, you know what I'm saying? It's over. Look, this person said, those are probably DoorDash support agents robbing Dashers as a side gig because they know how their own system works and how they can get away with it. I would have laughed and hung up as soon as Cash App was mentioned. Because how else would you get that information unless you've already been through, you see what I'm saying? You've been through the system already.
They called from like a secured line. Like, do you know when DoorDash actually calls you or a customer actually calls you and it says DoorDash right there on the top? And you answer, and it has this like pre-recorded subject to recording or whatever the fuck it says. They would alter my acceptance rate. Because of the inconvenience, they would put my acceptance rate at 100%. I actually just had an experience a couple days ago, and I deleted the videos about it where the app glitched out and it was frozen, but I was still dashing. And so there was tons of orders that I wasn't able to accept because I couldn't press accept, and was in contact with actual DoorDash support about it and was like, you know, can you do anything about that? Because you guys know how hard it is to get your fucking acceptance rate back up. And they couldn't. And I was like really disappointed. And like after I started to like call the fake agent out on how like weird this was and how I didn't feel comfortable doing it and wasn't going to do it, and I was going to end the phone call and my, you know, not dash and look into it and then get back, and was I started recording the phone call, and as soon as he heard that call is being recorded, whatever the fuck it states when you do that, he hung the fuck up. Be careful. I don't understand really how some random person could have all of that DoorDash information. Really not happy about that. That makes me feel really not safe dashing.
It's crazy. Both sides of the spectrum is not safe, from the customer side all the way to the dasher side. All aspects of it. I think like DoorDash, Uber Eats, you know, it's just not. It's a wild scam going on both ends of it. I really don't think there's a way to There's not really a way to fix it. You can't. Especially depending on what you order. Like I said, if it's for food, let's say you get something off DoorDash and it's food, you can't verify that it was cooked well. Like, yo, you could literally take a roach from outside, put it in the food, and say, hey, this is what I found in my food, da-da-da. They're gonna have to give you a refund because there's no one there that can verify it. It's kind of crazy. It's a wild scam. It's pretty wild on both ends of it. But let me know your thoughts on that. I thought that was pretty crazy. Wanted to cover, bring some awareness to it. And let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. You know, as always, it's your boy.